Farmington has hosted a semi-private event for near end of June of current year with actual prize for the podium competitors, and only one game was available to play, SEGA Casino. SEGA Casino was developed by TOS under their publishers and editors SEGA! For Nintendo DS handheld, and it was out in 2005 in USA and the following year overseas. People were excited for the event and were given a special role and color for their name in Discord, and we all took guesses of which game it could be 2 weeks prior to the final details reveal. The problem of having one game is that some people have advantage over the genre of the game. A 2D platformer would be easy for Merle and Aimbot, or a Roblox game would be easier for Zeroning and Spamshot, while for me it would be easier to play a racing game or a game built with Unity engine in the first perspective. How to win? Be the quickest to finish a game or a sequence of games for a world record according to categories in rules, which would require you to spend hours to fight for the best possible RNG, the best possible time. You have about 20 individual levels and 12 full games, and that's an estimation, since the quantity of categories changed during the event, because it was even confusing for Daryl, the organizer. Also, the 3 rewards were given from 3 different Farmington contributors and members on the final day to the top 3 players ranked by a system of points. We were initially 19, but only 5 of us submitted a run during the event. But before telling you how it went, I dug for some research on if the game was actually well received or not by the media and the players in 2005 and 2006. The age rating certifications for this game are various. At first I found this RP rating, which means that the game is admissible to obtain the ESRB rating, but haven't got one yet. For the copies sold in USA you will find either T for teen and E for everybody in an equal amount. In Europe they have the 18 plus mention by Peggy. Now my question is, why did SEGA targeted kids, a young audience, or they did not? In fact, no, they didn't. In fact, I found some reviews and my hypothesis was right that only adults buy this game. The main highlight of SEGA Casino reviews were that you could finally play the game Casino anywhere on a portable device and that your virtual bets weren't going to waste your real money, but you will still be satisfied. Although some magazines state that the game is dull or too hard or too easy, depends if you know Casino. Also a highlight was multiplayer and winning. Some magazines would say that the game is too simple and nothing was surprising, not even the graphics. It was also said that the game is a skillless game apart from Texas Hold'em and 7-card stud. In fact, the NGC UK Reviews magazine gave it a 50 out of 100 and the UK official Nintendo magazine gave it a 57 out of 100. GameSpot would give it a 5.8 out of 10, Eurogamer gave it a 3 out of 10, while Metacritic gave it a 61 out of 10, and Nintendo World Report would give it a 6.5 out of 10. Still, isn't gambling only for 18 years old and plus? In fact, according to ESRB, it is. And according to sovereign European countries, the starting age for gambling is 18, sometimes 19, 20, or even 21. For a short comparison, there's 3 other Casino DS games. Clubhouse Games, which has a rating of 8 or 9 out of 10, and then Golden Nugget Casino and Vegas Casino High Five. Vegas Casino High Five came out in 2007, although all the others came out in 2005, and all of them has always that mention E for everybody, teens and 18 plus. Nowadays, SEGA Casino costs around $4 to $12 or £3. Back in the days when it was new, the game would cost £20 in UK, and if we do the math with some inflation in today's currency, you'd need about 64 Canadian dollars or 48 USD or 38 pounds. So how did Farmington do at the challenge to obtain the most amount of world records? I would say bad, but not terribly. In fact, only pocogamer, Captain Ninja, VentureMatic, Peyton and myself participated in the week of the event that turned out to be only 4 days. I had a setup just like this, where I show my taskbar to reveal the date and opened programs which all could act as some anti-cheat measures. On day 1 we were all learning the game, we were learning the mechanics and the quickest save times and the correct timing. I also had a couple of rejected runs, but Daryl explained to us how it's done and I've just played again. In fact, only Texas Hold'em and 7 SHOTCUT, which is the same game, has 3 various skillful endings. First, you either bet all and you lose, you bet all you win, or you just bet a little bit and you win, and that are 3 different ways to end the time. Also, this is how I kept track of what categories I have done and which I didn't. And this is the rating on the end of day 1. On day 2, nothing exceptionally happened, apart that we kept playing and Captain Ninja went for the 21 points to grab the first place. On day 3, we had some difficulties reading the complex categories and we asked some help to the Grenadier Reni or Daryl, and we still continued not understanding. This is the day Peyton shined and I started streaming. What has it? It's frustrating, but well, it's not. I'm not frustrated, but oh, nice. See, look at the timer. 9. What the hell was that? 9. The game slows down at some point, and it's not emulation problems. I asked the guy who. Ooh, wait, that was quick. Oh my god. Come on, world record. World record. World record. Come on. Come on. Anyways, on day 4, that's when 4 more participants retreated. The competition was high between me and Peyton. And also VentureMatic joined and was competing against Captain Ninja. Me and Peyton were about to start doing the hardest categories where you have to win a lot of games. That would take 20 to 40 minutes in a good run. In fact, that's where I think the competition ended because the 4 or 5 participants that were participating couldn't do better, while the 13 others had other reasons. Even though there was a prize attached to the event, here's how I think the event went wrong. Now hear me out, it's not Reni Daryl's fault. In theory, picking such a weird game to speedrun was a good idea since nobody got the skill for it. Emulating the game was actually a problem because, as I was telling my Twitch clip, I found out every day that my Zoom emulator would run slower than the new 3DS of Peyton. I had several frame perfect or almost frame perfect runs, and I would mash multiple keys to advance in the game as fast as possible with almost or the perfect luck needed, and I would still be behind Peyton by 2 or 3 seconds. And Peyton runs had eye detectable optimizations such as not getting the best luck or not getting the ace plus 10 point card in blackjack. The second mistake of picking SEGA Casino was the absence of an in-game timer, nor it had a good amount of levels. Daryl made a lot of categories out of levels. The levels correspond to the number of games, while the categories are made up goals. This isn't a bad thing in itself, but the downside is trying to understand those categories, because many were too similar, and even Daryl was confused, which make us also play a lot of mini-games that are all the same. Then Paco, Act, and Coco were on vacation, and Bluestone, Dax, Nator, and Daryl himself had to do announcements and rebuild a whole 4 total of leaderboards for the game Cetera. Cetera is one of the most complex leaderboard there, and they had to make 4 of them during the same week. As somebody pointed out, I also think that a web game or a student-made game on itch.io could have been the good choice, or probably we could have a choice of 5 different games to play. Others complained that the game was too hard, was skill-less, and it wasn't interesting because it evolves around gambling and the RNG factor. Anyways, this is how it ends, and I want to thank you, Daryl, Reni, for giving of your time and the organization of this event, and of course you, fioresa, who was in fact the only contributor in the prize pool of $50. Also good games to pocogamer. VentureMatic, Captain Ninja, PeytonKarting for giving me a solid competition. In fact, if you look back at the leaderboards or ratings from day 1 through day 4, we had a solid combat. For fact, this video takes 130 videos of imagery or audio, plus my script. Thank you.